My wife whispered to her friend, "He has no idea I'm draining the accounts before I leave him." I pretended to be asleep. Then I got up, transferred the remaining funds to a secure offshore account, and left a note, "Check the balance." Her scream from the living room woke the neighbors. Original post I, 35 male, have always been the guy who reads the terms and conditions. I'm a forensic accountant for a firm that specializes in corporate restructuring. Basically, I find the money people try to hide when a company goes belly up. You'd think a guy with my skill set would spot a grifter sleeping in his own bed. But love has a way of making you blind to the red flags waving right in front of your face. I've been married to Caitlin, 32 female, for 6 years. For the last 2, I've felt less like a husband and more like a venture capitalist funding a startup that never launches. Caitlin is beautiful, charismatic, and perpetually on the verge of a breakthrough. First, it was a boutique event planning business that cost me 30 grand and produced exactly 1 birthday party. Then it was a luxury travel blog that required first-class tickets but generated 0 ad revenue. Currently, she's into high-frequency lifestyle trading. I don't even know what that means, but it involves a lot of dinners with investors and a lot of new outfits that cost more than my mortgage payment. We live in a nice house in the suburbs. I pay for it. I pay for the cars. I pay for the organic grocery delivery service she insists on but rarely cooks with. I thought we were a team, just going through a rough patch while she found her footing. Last night, Caitlin hosted a strategy session with her best friend Monica. Monica is single, bitter, and treats men like renewable resources to be mined and discarded. I usually make myself scarce when Monica is over, so I told them I had a migraine and was going to crash on the recliner in the den with the lights off. The den is adjacent to the kitchen, separated by a thin wall and a pocket door that doesn't latch properly. I drifted off for a bit, the hum of their voices just background noise. I woke up because the tone changed. It went from the loud, performative laughter they use when they're drinking Pinot Grigio to that low, conspiratorial whisper that signals nothing good. "He's such a drone," Caitlin whispered. I didn't move. My eyes were closed, my breathing steady. "He literally asked me to budget for the trip to Cabo. Can you believe that?" "Budget? Gross," Monica replied. "So is it done?" "Almost," Caitlin said, and I could hear the smirk in her voice. "He has no idea I'm draining the accounts before I leave him. I already moved the savings into that crypto wallet Justin set up for me. Tonight, once he's actually asleep upstairs, I'm logging into the brokerage. I'm liquidating the index funds. By Monday morning, I'll be in Miami with the money, and he'll be waking up to a 0 balance and a divorce filing." "You're a genius," Monica giggled. "He deserves it for wasting your prime years." "I know," Caitlin sighed. "It's my severance package. I earned it dealing with his boring work stories." My heart didn't race. That's the funny thing about my job. When panic hits, I get cold. I get logical. I lay there for another 10 minutes, waiting until I heard the sliding glass door open. They were going out to the patio to smoke. I sat up. The house was silent. I walked into my home office and locked the door. I didn't turn on the big light. The glow of my 3 monitors was enough. Caitlin thinks she's smart because she watches TikToks about financial liberation. She doesn't realize that I built the security protocols for half the banks she banks with. She had access to our joint checking and savings. Yes, she also had authorized user status on my main brokerage account because I trusted her. That was my mistake. But Caitlin forgot one crucial detail: the security tokens. To liquidate the brokerage account or move anything over $10,000, you need the physical 2FA key that stays on my keychain. She probably planned to swipe it while I slept. I didn't just block her access. I went nuclear. I logged into the admin portal for our family trust, a legal entity I set up years ago to protect assets from liability lawsuits in my line of work. I initiated an immediate, cascading transfer. Checking account, drained, left 15. Savings account, drained, left $5. Brokerage account, locked down. I revoked her authorization and changed the password to a 64-character string of nonsense. Credit cards. I marked every single card in her possession as stolen, compromised. Then, I moved the funds. I didn't just put them in another savings account. I wired them to a secure corporate holding account I use for my business consulting. This account is not marital property in the traditional sense. We can argue about that in court, but good luck touching it tonight. And more importantly, it's impenetrable without my biometrics. It took me 12 minutes to turn Caitlin from a wealthy housewife into a woman with $15 to her name. I printed a screenshot of the transfer complete screen. On the back of it, I wrote in thick black marker, "Check the balance." I walked out to the kitchen. I propped the note up against the bottle of expensive wine they had been drinking. Then I went upstairs, packed a bag with my essentials, passport, laptop, hard drive, suits, and walked out the front door. I drove my car around the block and parked where I could see the living room window, but remain hidden in the shadows. I waited. It took about 20 minutes. I saw the kitchen lights flick on. I saw shadows moving. Then, the window to the living room seemed to vibrate. The scream wasn't human. It was the sound of a predator realizing it had walked into a bear trap. No, 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 no. I could hear her through the glass of my car. The neighbor's lights started flickering on. I saw Caitlin running around the living room, phone in hand. She was frantically tapping, probably trying to refresh the banking app, hoping it was a glitch. Then my phone buzzed. "Where is the money?" "Lucas, the app is broken. Fix it." "I know you did something. Pick up the phone, you psycho." I didn't reply. I just watched. A police cruiser rolled up about 10 minutes later. The neighbors must have called in a domestic disturbance. I watched the officers walk up the driveway. Caitlin opened the door, hysterical, pointing inside. I started my car and drove to a hotel downtown, the Four Seasons. I figured since I was the only one with access to the money, I might as well enjoy it. Update 1. I am currently sitting in a suite that costs more per night than Caitlin's car payment. I have ordered room service and I am watching the chaos unfold from a safe distance. The morning after the scream, I woke up to 73 missed calls and a text thread that looked like the diary of a madwoman. "Caitlin, the police said they can't do anything. They said it's a civil matter. You stole my money. I have a brunch meeting with investors in an hour. My card was declined for the Uber. Turn it back on. Now. I'm sorry, okay? I was just venting to Monica. I wasn't really going to leave. I was drunk. Please, Lucas, I have no gas in the car." I took a sip of my coffee and finally replied, "Me. I heard the part about the crypto wallet, Caitlin, and the part about Miami, and the part about me being a drone. The bank isn't broken. The cards aren't broken. You are no longer an authorized user on my accounts. Good luck with the investors." Then I called my lawyer. Let's call him Saul. Saul is the kind of lawyer who scares other lawyers. He doesn't raise his voice. He just raises his billable hours and destroys you with paperwork. I met Saul at his office at 10 a.m. I played him the recording. Yes, I have security cameras in my house with audio. I installed them 2 years ago after a break-in down the street. Caitlin knows they are there. She just forgot, or she's too arrogant to care. Saul listened to her whisper. He has no idea I'm draining the accounts before I leave him. He smiled. It was a terrifying smile. "Well," Saul said, "she just admitted to attempted grand larceny and premeditated embezzlement of marital assets. That's going to make the divorce proceedings very efficient." We filed for divorce immediately. We also filed an emergency motion to freeze any assets she did manage to squirrel away, specifically that crypto wallet she bragged about. While we were drafting the paperwork, Caitlin was busy digging her hole deeper. She went to the bank. According to the branch manager, who I have known for 10 years, she caused a scene that involved throwing a stapler at a teller. She demanded they override my authorization. They threatened to call the police. She left, but not before screaming that I was financially abusing her. Then she tried to sell the furniture. I got a notification from my home security system. Motion detected in living room. I pulled up the feed on my phone. Caitlin and Monica were trying to drag my leather recliner out the front door. I called the local police non-emergency line. "Yes, this is Lucas' name. I am the homeowner at address. There are individuals removing furniture from the property. I am currently separated from my wife, and she is attempting to liquidate marital assets in violation of the pending divorce filing." The police arrived while they were trying to shove the recliner into the back of Monica's SUV. It didn't fit. I watched on the camera as the officer explained to Caitlin that she couldn't sell the furniture. "It's my house," she screamed. "It's community property until a judge says otherwise, ma'am," the cop said. "Put the chair back." She dragged the chair back inside. She kicked it, then she collapsed on it and started sobbing. But the real kicker, the part that makes this all make sense, came out later that afternoon. I received an email from a man named Justin. Subject: "Regarding your investment, Mr. Last Name. I am writing on behalf of Caitlin. There seems to be a misunderstanding regarding the capital transfer scheduled for this morning. We have strict deadlines for the Phase 3 buy-in for the Ascension Protocol. If the $150,000 is not received by close of business, Caitlin will lose her spot in the Founders Circle and her initial deposit will be forfeited." I forwarded the email to Saul immediately. Justin isn't just a crypto bro. I did a quick background check. Justin is a life coach and wealth guru who runs a pyramid scheme centered around buying virtual real estate in a metaverse that doesn't exist yet. Caitlin wasn't just leaving me. She was cashing me out to buy into a scam. She had already given him our savings, the money I thought was sitting in the emergency fund. She moved it weeks ago. I checked the records. She had been siphoning money for months, little withdrawals here and there. Then the big chunk. The entitlement is staggering. She truly believed that because she put up with me, she was entitled to my life savings to buy magic beans from a guy named Justin who probably lives in his mom's basement. I sent a reply to Justin. There will be no transfer. Caitlin has no access to funds. I suggest you refund her initial deposit immediately, or my lawyer will be contacting the Attorney General regarding your operation. I do this for a living, Justin. I will find every penny. I haven't heard back from Justin, but Caitlin is blowing up my phone again. Caitlin, you ruined it. You scared Justin off. He's not answering my DMs. That money was my future. You are jealous because he's a visionary and you're a bean counter. I am a bean counter, and right now I'm counting all the beans she's never going to touch again. Update 2. It has been 5 days since I left the house. The war of attrition has begun, and Caitlin is losing bad. I decided to cut the utilities at the house. Okay, I didn't cut them. That would be illegal. I simply removed my name from the accounts. I called the electric company, the water company, and the internet provider. I explained that I no longer resided at the property and to take the billing out of my name, effective immediately. They sent a final bill to me and a notice to the occupant that they needed to set up a new account within 48 hours or service would be suspended. Caitlin, of course, ignored the mail. She has never paid a utility bill in her life. She assumes electricity is a natural right that just happens. Yesterday, the internet went out. I know this because I received a text from Caitlin via SMS, green bubble tragic instead of iMessage. Caitlin, the Wi-Fi is down. I can't upload my apology video to my followers. Fix it. I don't live there. Caitlin, the account is closed. You have to open your own account. I can't. They want a deposit. I have no money. You are starving me out. You have a job, don't you? The lifestyle trading? Surely that pays well. She didn't reply. The Justin situation has exploded. After I threatened him with the Attorney General, Justin apparently decided Caitlin was a liability. He blocked her on everything. But here's the beautiful part. The crypto wallet she mentioned? It wasn't a wallet she controlled. It was a direct transfer to his wallet. She gave him $45,000 of our money and he ghosted her. She is now realizing that she is broke, alone, and scamming. So naturally, she went on the offensive. She posted a video on social media, using cellular data, I assume. In the video, she is crying without tears. She claims I abandoned her. She claims I have a secret gambling addiction, and that I drained the accounts to pay off a bookie. She claims she is a survivor of financial violence. It got about 4,000 views. Unfortunately for her, most of our mutual friends know what I do for a living. They know I don't gamble. I don't even buy lottery tickets because the odds offend me. I didn't respond on social media. I responded in court. Saul filed a motion for an emergency hearing regarding the defamation and the dissipation of assets, the $45 she gave to Justin. We stood in front of a judge this morning. Caitlin showed up wearing an old dress, trying to look destitute. Her lawyer, a guy she clearly found on a bus bench, tried to argue that I left her without resources. Saul stood up. He adjusted his tie. Your Honor, the respondent Caitlin admitted on a recorded line to planning to embezzle the entirety of the marital estate to flee the jurisdiction. She has already transferred $45,000 to a known fraudulent entity. My client secured the remaining funds to preserve the estate. We are happy to release a stipend for necessities, provided she vacates the marital home so it can be sold to recover the losses she incurred. The judge looked at Caitlin. Mrs. Last name, did you transfer $45,000 to a Justin Miller? It was an investment, Caitlin shouted. It was going to triple in a month. Lucas is just trying to control me, the judge sighed. He rubbed his temples. Ma'am, that money is likely gone. You have dissipated marital assets. The petitioner, me, acted prudently to secure the rest. I am granting the motion. You have 30 days to vacate the home. You will receive a weekly stipend of $300 for food and essentials. Do not post about this case on social media again, or I will hold you in contempt. Caitlin looked like she had been slapped. $300? She whispered. That doesn't even cover my facial. Welcome to the real world, the judge said. After court, Caitlin tried to approach me in the parking lot. She switched tactics. She went for the soft approach. Lucas, she said, putting a hand on my arm, we're throwing away 6 years. I was just confused. Justin manipulated me. I'm a victim here too. Can't we just go home? I'll cook dinner. We can watch that show you like. I looked at her hand on my arm. I felt nothing. You were going to leave me with $0, Caitlin. You were going to wake up, steal everything I worked for, and leave me to rot while you partied in Miami. That's not confusion. That's malice. I was unhappy, she cried. Then you should have asked for a divorce, I said. Not a robbery. I got in my car. As I drove away, I saw her kicking the tire of her Range Rover, which reminds me I need to retrieve the Range Rover. The lease is in my name. Update 3, it has been 2 months. The dust has settled, and the silence is magnificent. The divorce was finalized yesterday. It was a bloodbath, but mostly for her. Because Caitlin had wasted $45,000 of marital funds on a scam, the court deducted that amount from her share of the remaining assets. Since we had about $100,000 in equity in the house and $200,000 in savings/investments that I saved, the math was not in her favor. After deducting the $45 she stole and half of the credit card debt she racked up, which I proved was for her personal business expenses, she walked away with about $15,000. Total. That is all she has to show for 6 years of marriage and a failed attempt at grand larceny. Justin, the scammer, was actually arrested in Florida last week on unrelated wire fraud charges. I sent the tip to the FBI myself. I attached the transaction logs from Caitlin's transfer. It felt good to use my professional skills for personal vengeance. Caitlin won't see a dime of that money back, but at least Justin is going to prison. The house. I sold the house. I couldn't live there anymore. Too many memories of her complaining about the backsplash I paid for. When the movers came to clear it out, we found that Caitlin had been busy. She couldn't sell the furniture, so she damaged it. She poured bleach on the carpets in the guest room. She scratched greedy into the hardwood floor of the hallway. I documented everything. I deducted the cost of repairs from her $15,000 settlement. She ended up with a check for $8,400. The confrontation. I saw Caitlin one last time. She came to the lawyer's office to sign the final decree. She looked tired. The high-frequency lifestyle gloss was gone. Her roots were showing. She was wearing jeans and a sweater that I recognized from Target. She signed the papers without looking at me. But as she stood up to leave, she paused. You know, she said, her voice shaking. You're going to be lonely. You're going to sit in your big, empty apartment with your money, and you're going to realize that money doesn't hug you back. I looked at her. I thought about the night she whispered to Monica. I thought about the way she laughed about draining my accounts. Caitlin, I said, I'd rather be lonely in a penthouse than broke in a pyramid scheme. And honestly, my money has never lied to me. It has never pretended to love me while plotting to stab me in the back. I think we'll be very happy together. She stormed out. Monica was waiting for her in the lobby. I noticed Monica didn't hug her. Monica looked annoyed that she was having to drive Caitlin around. That friendship has an expiration date now that Caitlin can't pick up the tab. Where I am now, I moved into a condo in the city. It's modern, secure, and has a great view. I changed all my passwords. I bought a new physical security key for my accounts. I'm not dating yet. I'm taking a break. I'm enjoying the simple things, like ordering a pizza and not having someone tell me it's low-vibration food. I did keep one souvenir. The note I wrote, "Check the balance." I framed it. It hangs in my home office, right above my monitors. It's not a trophy, it's a reminder. Always read the fine print, always trust your gut, and never ever go to sleep until you know where the exits are. Caitlin is living with her mother in a small town 2 hours away. I heard she's working as a receptionist at a dental office. I hope she learns how to budget.